Miranda, and today I am here to review More Than Just a Pretty Face, which just came out actually like the beginning of August, and I love this book so much for multiple reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is that right before I picked this up, I was in such a big reading slump, you know, where like it was only like a week, but you know where you're just like picking up multiple books and nothing is holding your attention. And one thing I've really been trying to do lately, because I feel like it helps avoid reading slumps for me personally, is I try and make sure that I don't read too many of the same genres back to back. And by that I don't mean like YA versus adult. I mean like I don't want to read like so many romance books in a row. I don't want to read so many like sci-fi fantasy books in a row. I like to mix up. So like I just couldn't find anything. And then I found this one. I had heard about it, but I couldn't find like an actual physical copy of it. So I was so happy when I found a physical copy of it. The cover is so gorgeous, guys. I love it so much. Like the main girl, Bisma, like they captured her outfit and her style perfectly because she's always wearing like these superhero t-shirts and just has this really cool like chic look to her. Also, what's kind of different about this book is that it's like a romance contemporary book, but it's from the guy's point of view, which I feel like I don't read that very often. I feel like more often it's from the girl's point of view. So the guy in this is named Daniel. He's not the smartest kid, which he readily admits. All he wants to do in life is be a chef, which he's really good at that, and that's what he wants to focus on. His mom supports him, but his dad doesn't think it's a practical job. There's like a bunch of things that are happening in this book, and I feel like the summary on the back doesn't do it justice at all. Like it just barely, it skims the surface of all that's happening, because we've got this going on. We've got a whole thing going on at the school where they have this contest, I guess you could call it, right? Called Renaissance Man, where a student from each class, like subject, is selected to present a topic of their choice to the whole like school. Everyone's looking forward to who the history guy is gonna pick, and the history guy surprises everyone by picking Danielle, and Danielle's like, I don't want to do this, like what are you talking about? And also the topic he has for his presentation is a source of conflict as well, because his teacher really loves the subject, but as Danielle starts to do research, and there's one thing in particular that kind of interests him in this, he learns that the subject that his professor is really invested in is not as great a guy as everyone makes him out to seem. And then the third thing also is his parents are really pushing for him to find someone in an arranged marriage. They set up, there's a word that I don't know how to pronounce it, but there's a word that is like these pre-arranged meetings for meeting someone and being like, oh, if you guys like each other, then they can start the process of starting a courtship and an arranged marriage. So he's going through this, but he doesn't want to meet anyone because he's been in love with his best friend's sister since he was like a little kid, and he really just wants to be with her, even though she really does not give him the time of day a lot, and everyone around him is kind of like, she's not good for you. Like, not that you're bad for her, she's bad for you. Like, just give it up. So at the beginning of the book, at one of these arranged meetings his mom sets up, he meets this girl, Bisma, who has just moved into town and has this secret in her past that is causing her a lot of distress and is making it very hard for her during these meetings. Danielle is kind of the first one that she meets on these that isn't like a super like jerk about her, or really just like actually treats her like a human being and is actually really nice about it. So as time goes on, like they don't really talk anymore, but all of a sudden once he's the Renaissance Man, she offers to help him because she's one of the few people in his life that really like doesn't let him talk down about himself. Like a lot of people are like, oh, like you're such an idiot, like, or like you're not bright, like just kind of like don't expect a lot out of him, and he kind of has that self-deprecating of like, oh, like yeah, I'm not smart, blah blah blah. And she's really one of the few people in his life that doesn't let him talk bad about himself. Like she was like, I wish you wouldn't say that like you're stupid and stuff like that, because you like you're just not good at the traditional stuff of like school and stuff that, you know, just because that's what people value right now, that doesn't mean that you're stupid just because you don't get this thing. Like, you're really good at cooking, which not everyone is good at that. I don't say, like, you're an idiot and you're stupid just because you can't do, like, the traditional way of school. And just because that's hard for you, that doesn't make you stupid and a bad person. It just means that you excel in other areas. And I think that's a really nice thing to see, because I feel like a lot of people get like that, you know, where you put yourself down for a certain thing, and it's just kind of become like a defense mechanism where like if you say it before anyone else can, and if you're kind of in on the joke of like, yeah, I'm stupid, blah blah blah, then it kind of takes some of the sting out of it, but also at the same time you're reinforcing yourself that like you agree with these people. And I think having Bisma call him out and be like, you know, like I wish you wouldn't say these things about yourself. I wish you'd focus on the positive characteristics of yourself instead of the negative, I think was really, really great. And the interesting thing about this book is, like I said, there's so much going on. Like it's just way more than you anticipate. Like obviously Bisma and Danielle's relationship is a big important part of it, but it's such like a really realistic slow burn that I really, really loved it. Like it was started out as like they just had this meeting and it was kind of like they were being nice to each other. Then they meet up one more time where her dad kind of is just a real big jerk about what he does, and Danielle stands up for Bisma. Like that's the thing, they're both for each other. They don't let each other feel bad about themselves, even though like society around them tells them that like they've done a bad thing. Like each of them is very much like, I'm not gonna let you get down on yourself and feel bad about yourself because you're an amazing, amazing person. And I think that's really nice to see. And then yeah, their relationship is like kind of, you think they're not gonna really talk again, like they just have their one-off meeting, and then one of my favorite characters, Bisma's sister, gets involved, the meddling younger sister. She gets involved and is kind of like, you are one of the few people that makes my sister smile, so like you guys need to hang out a lot more. And they become friends, and then it's really like, yeah, I think the portrayal of falling in love is just really cute, because I feel like a lot of times we see this insta-lovey thing, and Danielle even talks about it himself a lot over the book of like how he's not feeling these, like he doesn't have a big sign, you know, like it's not like he has super butterflies in his stomach all the time, or like a shooting star is going by whenever he sees her, but it's almost like she crept up on him, you know, like suddenly she became one of the most important people in his life without him even realizing it. And I think that's really sweet and realistic, you know, like that's the kind of love you should want, where it's just like all of a sudden they're your best friend, and then all of a sudden like you can't picture real life without them, and like it's, you've fallen in love without even realizing it. I think that's really, really sweet and really cute. And yeah, what I really liked about this book was that I kept putting it down. It took me a while to get through it, but like I mean that in the best possible way, because I just wanted to savor it. I feel like there's some books that you just want to fly through because you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then there's books like these where I would read and get to a point, put it down, and just kind of reflect and think on what I had just read, because I feel like there's a lot of good lessons in this about love, about life. There's a lot of ideas about mistakes, and how does a mistake define you? How long does a mistake define you? Are you allowed to judge other people for a certain mistake, knowing that like you're not perfect either? Like what gives you that right? And I think it's a very comforting and thought-provoking book, you know, like I just felt comforted after reading it. I think Bisma and Danielle's relationship was very, very equal and very sweet, and I loved just all their interactions and scenes together, because it truly went from like friends to lovers, and I think that was really, really sweet. Yeah, it's just, I think that's the best way I could describe this book, is I wanted to savor it. I didn't want to fly through it because I didn't want to get to the end just yet, so I kept putting it down, really thinking, digesting about what I had read. And I guess it does make sense, because, you know, Danielle wants to be a chef. That's what he's really great at. That, to bring this back to like cooking metaphors, that like, you know, I wanted to savor this book because it really felt like a really good meal that, you know, you don't want to tear through and then it's over. You want to enjoy all the aspects, kind of let it simmer on your taste buds, you know, figure out the different aspects of it, enjoy certain parts of it, and then move on to the next great part. Like, I really, really love this book, and I could not recommend it enough, guys. It's so cute and so sweet, and I mean, it got me out of my reading slump, so I'll always love it for that. So I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think it honestly, that's the other thing with like, much like how Bisma crept up on Danielle and how much he loved her, this book crept up on me, how much I loved it, because I got like halfway through and I'm like, yeah, this book's pretty good. I'd probably give it like 4 stars right now, you know, it's a little slow going. And then just the more I read it and the more I felt about it and, you know, put it down and really thought about it, like, I loved it. And by the time I got to like the end, it was like, wait, I love this book. Like, this is one of my favorites. So yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. If you have read this book, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down below in the comments. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Oh, I forgot to mention too, one thing I think is really cool is on the back, it says the author is a practicing attorney. Isn't that so cool? Like, imagine you're just like going to your jury duty or whatever, and you're watching the correct verb, like watching the court proceedings go on, and it's just a YA author is the practicing attorney. I would be like, this is so cool. Anyway, I just thought that was a really cool little fact about it. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!